Thank you for checking out Real Talk Personal Finance. Shit's about to get real. Cash Flow King with you today, and today we are recording what proves or probably will prove to be one hell of an episode with our repeat guest, the Reverend, why your small business needs to cheat to stay in business. Set the stage.
Reverend here just went on a rant with Cash Flow King about how I want to be an honest business owner and I just get kicked in the teeth every single time I turn around. How it's hard to be profitable, and right now I'm switching insurance carriers, and that's how this all came to be. Everybody wants you to do the legwork. Everybody wants to cut you down on your bottom line, and at the end of the day, you finally got to tell them to piss off so you can make some money.
All right. So I think for those that have not checked out previous episodes, I think we've had you on twice before. Once was on I forget the title of the episode, but pretty much a Tenants from Hell on rental stuff. And then the other one, I believe, was titled Small Business Challenges. And this one, I guess you could say, is an extension of Small Business Challenges with a real life, real time example. In this case, it is for, did you say workman's comp?
Yeah, workers' comp.
All right, so tell us what happened.
I decided to change carriers because one company had my general liability policy, and the other company was outrageous after talking to other business owners in the area and kind of shopping around. And so I called the place I already have a relationship with, so hey, I need a workers' comp policy for X amount of guys, and here's the info. This is how much they make a year. I start out doing all the legwork. Then they tell me I need a loss report for my other policy, how long I had it. I had to call them. When I terminated my policy, they did away with all my login info. So I spent 3 hours on the phone trying to acquire that for the insurance salesman. That in turn takes all my money for a premium, and every dollar I pay my guys, I have to pay X amount for that. So they're pretty much doing nothing. I'm doing everything and trying to do skilled labor while they play golf for lunch and drink mocktails or butt fuck around with each other, whatever it is.
What was we missed it, we weren't recording yet. Did you call it the double lunch eating?
Yeah. They're miserable. Every insurance person you've ever seen in your life is a big fat slob that does nothing with their time besides, I don't know, sit around and talk to other insurance guys about how they screw everybody out of everything.
All right, so I mentioned that, well, first of all, we have a couple drinks flowing during, if you can't hear the bottle clinging, during today's session. I have a Corona with lime. You have this is a live recording, by the way. This is, what do you got?
Mule.
Moscow Mule, okay. And so, let's see, let me dig into this a little bit. So my first question, I'm going to play devil's advocate. My first question is, and still trying to get an understanding of this whole thing, you canceled with the existing company before contacting the new company, is that right?
You're right. Yeah, just about like a week. And
okay.
I shouldn't have done that, I guess.
Lesson number one. Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know, I'm going to try to draw a parallel here, and it's somewhat related, but yet on the other hand, it will seem completely irrelevant, and so bear with me.
I'll draw you a parallel too when you're done.
Okay. So really quick, those of you that have listened to the show know I work in financial services, and it's kind of this unwritten rule. If somebody's going from one financial advisor to another or one financial services company to another, it's kind of like you, and this is going to contradict a little bit what I might say later, but you essentially work with and contact the new firm, and in this case we would call them the receiving company, and then the old firm would be the delivering company. Once that old firm gets a whiff that you're pretty much on your way out the door, they, generally speaking, aren't going to do a damn thing for you. So But your account is still going to be active. Your money's still going to be there. It's a little bit different than just, hey, click on, click off on this policy type of thing. So yeah, I guess that's the first thing. I don't know if that made any sense to anybody, but what I'm thinking about this is that you completely, so you basically went without workers' comp for at least a week or about a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably not the best idea, but okay, fine.
Yeah, it's better than not having it. Like 97% of construction companies.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are on that, but I would venture to guess that it's, well, we know somebody personally who got in an incident and worked for a gentleman who likely did not have it, and the conversation was pretty much, let me know what your medical bills are and we'll take care of it, and yada yada yada. And I don't think anything went any further than that as far as that goes. Okay, so you canceled the existing policy before buying a new policy. Now the company that you cancel with is pretty much like, fuck you, and the new company is like, hey, like, we need some info before we can move forward. And that's kind of where you are now. And you're like, damn it, why did I not have that other account still active so I could log into my account in 30 seconds instead of spending 3 hours on the phone trying to reactivate everything because these new guys need whatever they need.
Yeah, but here's the deal: it's a customer service issue.
Okay.
I understand if I have to have like sensitive information or login info that they can't call and get it. But when I sent it over, all the stuff, I forwarded a link to the lady after 3 hours on the phone, and she said, "Hey, that's not exactly what I need. It looks like there's some login info issues. Can you spend another 3 hours on the phone so I can charge you a premium and go to the golf course, because I'm really not willing to pick up the phone and call your previous carrier and try to help through the process."
Okay.
That's the problem. It's the same issue with the language is like, oh, I need this report and that report and 305C13 and this loss report and blah, 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 blah. And it's the same thing. If I go in and I try to build you a shower because that's my business, and I talk way over your head, and then you're like, man, I don't even know what's going on. That's not my job is to explain to you in the terms that you need to know. If you are experienced with, oh, like I've had 13 showers redone and we've built houses, and like, you know the deal, or you don't. But I cater to each customer, and the insurance company is not going to do that. They don't care. But they want a policy on my house boat. They want my house policy. They want all my rentals. They want my vehicles. They want my boats. They want all my stuff. But they want me to do all the legwork, get all the info, bring over and send this packet here and that packet there, so they can go auto charge.
Commission check generated.
Yeah, sweet. And that's just not the way that I do business or expect business to be conducted.
Well, I can understand where you're coming from. My thought, again, this goes back to financial services, because we see it all the time. People are moving money around. We'll have clients of ours that have money at another company, and they're like, hey, I want to consolidate with you guys. Like, what do I need to do? And you mentioned a customer service issue. Like, our operations folks, they will pick up the phone. They will make the call to the other company. They will try to obtain whatever it is that they need to obtain. But the reality is the other company oftentimes is not going to talk to them.
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, you need to have the client on the line, or the client needs to be the one that calls in. Half the time they won't even confirm an account.
Right.
So then I guess my question, again, playing devil's advocate, not trying to be an asshole here, but it's like, okay, how much of that is like procedural, and how much of it is they're a bunch of lazy fucks that don't want to do anything?
Yeah, they don't want to do anything. They just want to collect a check. They might as well live in Section 8 housing. I'm serious. It's the scum of the earth.
So
they're the people that go through when a tornado hits, and they go in there and try to prove how Aunt June is wrong, that she pushed something into effect that messed something up, and we're going to void her policy so we don't have to rebuild her a house. So that's the scum of the top.
so that side of the world is basically what? Like the adjusters whose job it is to pretty much keep them from paying claims or limit the amount of claims, and
So they have a team of people screwing people, but they don't have a team to help with customer service.
But the team that's supposed to be, and it sounds like in some way, shape, or form, is helping you are the salespeople. They're the people that want the commission check, that want to press, as you called it, I think, the auto bill button. And so they're the ones that are, ostensibly going to do everything they can to say yes, get you in the door, and collect your premium. So is it really them being difficult for the sake of being difficult because they just feel like it and they don't want to do anything? Or would it have been easier if the other policy were still active and they could contact that agent and say, hey, we have a mutual client, and again, they may or may not release information, but we have a mutual client, Reverend, and we need XYZ report. They speak the lingo to each other, and then boom, they send them what they need.
So if I'm remodeling your bathroom, here's your parallel.
Okay.
And we're doing a total gut job. I'm thinking about your hall bath right now.
Okay.
All right. What's the first step?
What do you mean?
What's the first step?
Of gutting my hall bathroom?
You hired my business to remodel your hall bathroom. What's the first step?
First step is get 3 bids.
Okay. No, I agree.
All right.
Wholeheartedly, and I advise all my customers to get multiple bids.
Okay.
All right.
So
we've
done that.
You signed the contract with the. All right. We've signed it. We've sold it. We've agreed on a price. What's next?
Well, presumably during that process, you would have set the expectation with me of here's how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Step 1, 2, 3.
That's what I'm saying. That's my job in customer service, is to provide that info to you.
Okay.
Okay. So the insurance company didn't do that for me.
So if you were to call the new carrier, assume you still had the existing carrier, and you said, hey, Miss New Carrier, like, here's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
They didn't outline to you.
Let's make it one step further.
Okay.
You hired my company to remodel your bathroom. We got 3 steps in. We started the job. We demoed it.
Mm-hmm.
We hired the plumber to rough it in after it was, and we made a mess of your house. The plumber was high when he showed up. You didn't like it. He was late. He showed up 2 weeks late and took 8 lunch breaks like the insurance guys. And you were like, hey, bud, this ain't cutting it. You're fired. Contract null and void, whatever the verbiage is. All right, next contractor, we got to finish the job because I don't know how to do this. All right, I trust this guy. He comes in. What's he going to do? Say, I don't know. Call the other guy. Call the old guy and ask him. I don't have a plumber.
The difference is you're talking about actual physical labor and work at a job site to produce a finished product.
It doesn't matter.
It does, though, because you have the decision maker there the entire time. So if this is me and I'm the homeowner and I'm the decision maker and I got the 3 bids and I hired you guys and you fucked it up and then I hired the next place and whatever. Yeah. Okay, but
so you ask the new GC to call the old GC?
Never.
Okay.
But it's because I can say to the new GC, here you can literally physically step into my bathroom, or what was a bathroom, and take a look around and see what was done and what wasn't done and what needs to be done, and then do it.
Correct.
That's all happening right there. With the insurance part, it's like you pretty much just stonewalled the fuck out of the old place and put up a huge barricade.
Like firing a contractor? Yeah.
Maybe, and then you go to the new place and you're like, okay, here's all my stuff. But here's the thing, okay? And I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But the new place has no idea if you stonewall the old place because of pricing, because you had a claim and they jacked your premium and you don't want the new place to know about that. There's a little bit more of the intangible side, I guess you could say, that goes along with the insurance type of world versus like physically in the bathroom, like, oh, they screwed up my fucking shower.
But it's all, if I'm the second contractor and I walk in, I go, well, man, this is a mess. And you go like, yeah, dude, the guy was an asshole. But actually what happened was, instead of the plumber showing up late and high, what happened is the first guy in his contract, it said that he needed a draw for material and you weren't willing to pay it. There was a dispute there, and it was actually your fault. You were like, no, I'm not paying you. And he quit instead of getting fired.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I guess.
And so you don't know. It's the second guy going in, but there's a loss report.
But what I do know is that there's a shower that's not completed, that needs to be completed, and pretty much the new guy can tell me exactly what it's going to take to complete that project.
Right.
And price all that out and whatever, and it's done. With the insurance world, and I'm not saying it's right, I don't necessarily agree with it, but there's like places that will say, okay, what is somebody's highest level of education, as if that fucking matters. And statistically, I guess it does, because if you have somebody that is married versus single, the married person probably gets a preferential rate. If somebody graduates college and the next person doesn't, the college graduate supposedly gets a better rate. All these different things, because they don't know. I guess here's the difference in my mind. They don't know like what the finished product is. In an ideal world, to them it is, you pay premium, they eat a double lunch and go golfing, no claims get paid. Like, that's the end result. But they don't know that, and so they have to look at the past and what has happened, and then what's the propensity and the likelihood that that's maybe going to repeat itself in the future, and price based on that. They're pricing essentially on incomplete information, is what I'm getting at. You're going to them and saying, hey, here's the situation, but I'm giving you zero history about my business. Versus the new contractor comes into my bathroom and says, I can literally look all 360 around your bathroom, see everything that's going on, and I don't really need to know the history. I don't care if the guy got fired because of the draw, or he showed up late and he was high, or whatever. There's more, I guess, certainty, and like, there's just a higher degree and level of certainty with the bathroom situation and a physical, finished end product that you can see in a confined area, versus a world of hazards that exist out there and different variables to interact with that produce a probability that you're going to file a claim and they're going to have to pay you.
Right. No, I get that, but that's where the loss report comes in.
Correct.
She wants it. She wants that.
Okay.
And I would want that, right? If you could give me the report on the truth of your previous contractor and why you parted ways, I would much rather have that than nothing, right? And what I'm saying is, that's why she wants the loss report. The problem I have is, we're on family vacation, sitting down here trying to drink Moscow Mules, and the woman calls me 4 times a day. Hey, are you going to call your previous place? Because I really need to cash my commission check. I really need that. So I understand why they need the report. There's not a dispute there, and why they want to know the past.
So your beef is the process
My
of
beef
getting
is the customer service and the, like, hey, I really, really, really just want, if I came to your house and said, I'm going to remodel your bathroom, but actually what I need you to do first is, after we sign the contract, pay up front a year in advance. Second thing I need you to do, go ahead and do the demo. I'm going to text you all of my subcontractors' names, if you don't mind, when it's convenient for you. Let them know when they can come start your job. And then at the end, I'll show up and give you the final invoice. Oh, wait, you already paid up front.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I get where you're going, but
there's
again,
zero effort, zero. Besides the phone call, hey, we sent your policy to underwriting, we need your loss report. Okay, I'm working on it. Hey, I forwarded it to you.
Okay, so what happens when that call gets made? Let's just say, okay, the new place calls the old place and says, hey, we have a client here, rent Reverend's business, and we need X, Y, and Z from him. Like, is it not a liability thing for them to just blindly send, like, I could call them up and say, hey, this is Cashflow King from ABC Insurance Company, and I need blah, 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 because my buddy's competitor in town, whatever, and I want to see what the hell they have going on. Like, they can't just send that to me. Right. But you're saying, okay,
so what's the process of you, your company's customer? You probably don't know. I don't. Of course, the customer service are reaching out to another financial entity, being like, hey,
they're essentially playing a game, and certain companies are completely by the book 100% of the time, quite frankly, and other companies will fuck up and disclose more information. Some of it is, there's the industry standard, and then there's sort of the company overlay, just kind of like with, not going too far down the rabbit hole, but with different, retirement planning, financial planning ideas and strategies, there's the IRS rules, and then there's like a product overlay. So the IRS says you can do this, this, and this, but our product, because it's good or because it sucks, says you actually can't do that with this product. And it's the same type of thing where it's like, every company's going to treat that a little bit differently. Some will say, hey, we have paperwork in-house from, Rent Reverend's, retirement shit, and he needs to call us to figure out what needs to happen next. Or we're waiting on an LOA, right, a letter of acceptance, or whatever it is. Some companies will disclose that, and some will say, sorry, if the client's not on the line, we can disclose zero information. And they're
And
literally,
I get part of that.
you know,
There's a zero effort. That is my problem. It's because
So-
all I do is put forth effort in every facet of everything that you can imagine down the line, and I want to do it right. But there's a guy locally that I talk to, and he's got probably 5x the business I do, and he's been in business a lot longer than me, but he's actually younger than me. And I talked to him, and I was like, man, how do you do this? Like, it's a lot. And how do you deal with this on this employee? And he was like, it comes down to the cheating thing. He is a very honest guy. I like to fancy myself as an honest guy. You want to do it right. But if you deal with insurance people like this, and then it just goes down the line, the cost per employee, and then you get to the end of it, and people aren't going to pay what it is. And that's the guy, individual I'm talking about has some Hispanic guys that work for him, and he was like, man, I don't have workers' comp on some of them. I can't. He said, if I follow every rule, I go broke. I go bankrupt. And he runs a very successful business. It's a problem. And I don't know how to remedy that.
yeah. I mean, I think that's ultimately a bigger question that I don't know that we'll be able to answer today.
No.
But going back to your particular situation here for a second, I guess I'm curious. So what, if anything, did the new company offer? Did they even tell you, like, hey, we know you're on vacation, we're sorry to bother you, we can either deal with this when you get back, or hey, we'll call over to the other company, or we did call over to the other company and they won't tell us shit?
No. Zero.
None of that.
She sent me a text that said, I haven't received that. It's time sensitive. I need that report. I said, okay. I called her on the way down here.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 phone calls later, after she took an hour and a half lunch, she called me back, and I'm not making that up. I'm not making it up. Their voicemail at the insurance company says, between 12 and 1, our office will be closed for lunch. Well, at 1:30, I called to respect her hour long. I'm sure she's really just shoveling her face full of shit. And they were like, oh, everybody's back, but Lori, she hasn't made it in yet. She took an extra long lunch on Wednesday. Hey, yeah, hang on a second, bud. Yeah, we will hear in a second, okay? And so, when I called, all right, bud, hang on. So when I called and she was like, I need that, and I said, all right, well, cool.
What is that glowing thing?
We're doing, you want to come say hello? We're doing a podcast.
What is a podcast?
Podcast.
It's recording.
Yeah, it's recording you right now. All the colors changing means it's on. And so your dad had some stuff going on with work that he's a little bit upset about, and we're just having a conversation about stuff.
Then I put it out on the radio so other people can listen to it, so maybe they can learn something, or just roll their eyes at us. What do you think about that?
He just face palmed and walked out. All right.
Yeah, he's 6. He doesn't care as long as he gets to go to private school and go swimming.
All right. So this lady's made zero attempt to do anything. She's texting you, basically saying, "Here's what I need. It's time sensitive. You call, hour and a half lunch. Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
She's not back yet.
And this may be my fatal flaw. I don't even know how I ended up at this insurance. I know the guy that owns the company. I guess that's how I ended up there. But years ago, when I started my liability insurance through them, I remember talking to this exact lady, and I told her what my business was.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me back the next day, and she would be like, "Oh, you're a painting contractor," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And it got to the point where I had to. It got above my level, man. And I try to be nice. I try to be pro, but I was not nice. To the point where it just, and that's where I'm at with her. I've been cool. I could tell at one point she was like, I remember. Like, I was mean enough that I could tell she was like, I remember this guy. And she's getting ready to get that guy, and it's not good.
You say you know the owner of this new place, though?
Yeah.
Why don't you just go to him?
Oh, she's on the golf course. She didn't answer the phone when he's playing golf.
Nah, it sounds like you might need a new carrier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
But
maybe
yeah.
I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, so what made you want to go with this place other than you know the guy? And
Yeah, I just already had my liability insurance done, and they're local. I like that. And just, man, I was, can I say what company I was with previously?
If you want to.
Yeah, it's ADP. I mean, I was running my payroll through them and everything else, and they deal with some big clients nationwide, and it was too much for my business. Like after I started looking at what I was paying, and so I decided to make a move, and that's where I be. But for anybody listening, if you're interested in a residential construction company to come in and do your job, no matter where you live, just understand how much overhead goes with having employees and all that stuff. Because when I'll be honest with you, I go give quotes. I mean, I have some people that are like, "Oh yeah, normal," like that's in our price range. And I have some people call me and they're like, "Oh my gosh." And honestly, the ones that say, "Oh my gosh," a lot of times are the ones that are barely profitable already, and they're asking for a deal. And that's why you don't get deals, is because it trickles down from insurance people and hateful people like that.
So, I know you probably want to go swimming here in a minute. We can try to wrap this up. I know he's waiting out there. So, we obviously have a catchy title for the show, Why Your Small Business Needs to Cheat. I'm sure at its core, you, on the one hand, don't want to believe that.
I do not.
On the other hand, like, what are you going to do now?
I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. I sent her an email back that said, "I'm on family vacation. Surely you can figure this out. If not, we need to go with another option."
Oh, gosh. All right. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, well, I mean, like...
So have you ceased all communication with the old company? Like, could you call your old agent back and be like, "Hey, man, I know I canceled my shit with you. I'm moving. They need some shit. Can you just, like, do me a solid?"
Yeah, no.
Because you're dead to him now.
Right. Well, I mean, I called them, and they were actually, like, the 8th person I finally got, and I was like, "Listen, lady," because they were trying to, "Why are you leaving?" You know? Yeah. And I said, "I don't, I'm trying to not be hateful. But you're the 8th person I've talked to. I just need the report. Here's my email address. Please send it to me." So that helped. I could actually speak to her, but she was super friendly and helpful, and like I would give her a 5-star review. I don't know.
But she never gave you the report.
She did. She sent it to me.
Oh, so you
and
have
I
it.
forwarded it, and the lady said that she
Oh,
was
it's
like,
still not
"Oh,
what
there's
she
like a
needs."
thing and a this and it goes back to that. Oh,
Yeah.
let me hold your hand and do your job and give you money."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for them. I know that there are certain things that need to happen. With that said, going back to customer service thing. So if I have a client that, our company makes it, sometimes we have a joke that they make it hard to do business. It's almost that they want to turn it away. They just make it so difficult. And it kind of sounds like you're jumping through a lot of these hoops. So what I've done personally in my practice is essentially developed a couple different guides/checklists that literally, because of my experience doing this and knowing that these other companies are probably not going to talk to our people, hey, when you get a chance, call the 800 number on your statement and ask them these questions. Just write down whatever they tell you and send it back to me, because I need that to do some of our paperwork and our reporting stuff on our end to bring the money in. And half the time, if the client, if it's not their thing, they're just literally reading almost like a script. Like, I've taken the time to prepare that and send that to them and set the expectation on how this is going to go and the multiple steps that are involved. And I know for some of them, quite frankly, it's a deterrent. They don't want to fucking deal with it. So they're not going to bring their money over. And guess what? I have to be okay with that, you know, and it is what it is. But what I don't want to do is get into a situation, which it sounds like this lady's doing, is say, well, not that they're nickel and diming what you're sending them, but like, tell me up front, I need these things, exactly what I need, and I will get that to you. But if you tell me, send you this, and then I do it, and then it's like, oh, I need item 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, that's where you start pulling your hair out, so I guess.
Yeah, no, you know, and what you're saying is that you care about customer service, and you know that you win when it's better. I know that I win when it's better. Yeah. There's no disputing that. I think anybody can agree with that. It's just, I don't know, the frustration, and sometimes I have to like count to 10 and come off my high horse or whatever you want to call it and be like, listen, it's going to be way more complicated to call somebody down the road. As much as I want to tell that lady to get fucked, well, it is what it is. Sometimes I get temperamental.
But, all right, what else do you have on the topic?
Nothing. I can't think anything right off. It's just me fired And,
I felt like we needed to capture this moment because the Reverend is sometimes not a man of many words, sometimes he is, but when something like this happens and he gets, whether it's accounting stuff or business stuff or whatever, he has a tendency to get worked up, and I thought it would be good entertainment.
high frustration levels.
Yeah. Well, I guess my feedback on this whole thing, or summary for the sake of the listeners, would be, or not really summary, my key takeaway. If you're going, and this is true for retirement stuff, insurance stuff, business insurance stuff, whatever, don't cancel your existing shit before your new shit's in place. They can always refund the unearned premium if you change carriers. And your existing carrier, if you still have an account active with them, they might not love it, but they're going to be more likely to want to help you than if you just throw a stone wall up at them
That's good advice.
and try to go back.
I would track that for sure.
So, all right. Anything else for the listeners on the topic before you get to go swimming?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll get this out to the world, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.